evening, everyone. Welcome to our LDA Jan Learner Memorial Speaker Series workshop. And we are really excited this evening to have a workshop, which will be the first one, incidentally, we have had about the role of music. Even though I know I did a study of how special ed people stay in the field, and one of the things we found in the leading thing was they listen to music, which is very powerful. So think of the power of it for our students. So it's really very exciting. So I'm going to let Emma tell more about herself. But if you read the bio that I sent out, she is phenomenal. She has gone through a number of surgeries and is doing wonderful. So Emma, we are just so glad to have you with us. So you want to take it away?
I'm so grateful, Beverly. Thank you so much. And thank you for all being here. Before I get started, I guess what I wanted to do today as I was preparing for this workshop and conversation, if you will, is I wanted to sort of start off by introducing myself. And I'd love to hear a little bit about you guys and your background so I can make sure that I'm tailoring this for you as best as possible. And then we'll have some fun. So, yes, good evening. My name is Emma G. I am a singer-songwriter based in Washington, D.C., originally from New Zealand. I
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, my background's a little bit spicy, shall we say. So, as much as I am from New Zealand, my mother was from Pennsylvania, from Erie, Pennsylvania. Her father was from Iran. Her mother is from Iowa by way of Norway. My father was from Fiji. So I like to be, I make the joke that I'm overcoming racism in one body. But I think that is kind of a testament to what I do now as not just a singer-songwriter, but as an empowerment through singing and songwriting coach, helping a range of human beings identify, understand, and process their emotions, experiences, and stresses through the lens of music and songwriting. So that's kind of the tip of the iceberg, if you will. Obviously, Beverly has put together this beautiful description of who I am. So I also am a recording artist, performing artist, and speaker, keynote speaker. I'm blessed to have had done 2 TED Talks or TEDx talks specifically about my complications with my health. Being that, yes, I've had 10 brain surgeries. I've had 24 surgeries in total. I know, Joan. I'm a walking testament. But so I've got a condition called hydrocephalus, which literally means my brain is floating in water. So everybody's brains floats in water. It's called cerebral spinal fluid. For most people, that water enters into the cranium through the ventricles in your brain and then exits down your spinal column. However, I have a cyst the size of my fist in the center of my cranium, which means that water can get in, but it has no way of accessing my spinal column to exit. So when I was 4 months old, I was diagnosed, and thankfully, I was diagnosed in a time of technology being present. So I was rushed to surgery, and a shunt or a really long tube was inserted into my brain to drain the CSF, cerebral spinal fluid, out and into my abdomen. That literally saved my life, but more importantly, that has served me throughout my entire life. My last surgery was when I was 12, 13 years old. But, being a young person who obviously goes through young people's stuff, in addition to all of the medical complications and isolation from my school friends and developmental delays as a result of brain damage, and going from being the school geek to then becoming really delayed in my learning, meant that I really struggled emotionally, mentally, uh, you know, struggled with depression, struggled with suicidality, struggled with identity, struggled with connection, struggled with my academics. But thankfully, I found that songwriting and music really helped. I started playing violin when I was super young. That moved into piano, that moved into guitar. Singing has always been in my blood. And as I was told by the Child Youth Development Center in my hometown, music is one of those few things that stimulates both sides of the brain. And because of that, I was able to use music to help me learn again, help me regenerate lost parts of my brain function, help me to hold on to lessons that I was learning in school, hold on to conversations that I was having, and literally record and hold on to memories of just experiences that I was going through, which was, a lot when you're a teenager, right? So music has always been my lifeline. And cut to, when I was 17, I decided, well, I don't want it to just be about me. That's a very lonely life. How about teach other people to also embrace the power of music? So I started my own vocal coaching company that turned into me also teaching adult education classes at a local high school. That turned into me running an empowerment, well, no, sorry, running a choir. We were called the Waikato Modern Choir. Our youngest member was 14, our oldest was 82. And then that then led me to teaching at the YMCA, where I was a youth development coordinator in a lower socioeconomic community within Auckland, or Auckland, as you Americans may pronounce it. Um, and that then turned into me teaching at a university called Te Wānanga o Aotearoa, also in Auckland, um, where I was, teaching for about 3.5 years. All of that kind of culminated in 2014. I came sixth in X Factor New Zealand. I won a New Zealander of the Year at Local Heroes Award. I was the ambassador for Tough Mudder. And my band's album hit number 11 on the top 20 charts. So I decided to spread my wings, moved to America, where my mother was from, and set up my life here. So now, as you see me here, I do all of that, but in one sort of hodgepodge pile of a business that I call Empowerment Through Singing and Songwriting Coaching. And so that brings me to why I'm here today to talk about how music is so beneficial for education, for youth development, especially post pandemic, especially in the world of social media, and especially in a world where technology and every other fun distraction is contributing significantly to a lowered attention span, shall we say. So, I say that all to say that that's a little bit about who I am. But I'd love to, before we dig in, hear from you guys what your backgrounds are and what you're hoping to get from this session. Dr. Kelvin Ward, if you would like to start, sir, you're the first person on my screen.
I had an opportunity in 1985 to start working for the Chicago public school system, and I was at the same time taking courses from Northeastern Illinois University, and that's when I learned about started taking courses in special ed.
Nice.
And to make a long story short, I spent over about 35, 36 years teaching, and I've taught both in special ed and in general ed.
Nice.
And I was always fascinated in learning that what works for some students and what does not work. And one of the things that I've learned too is when because I think every human being has their own niche.
Mm-hmm.
They one thing they're good at, and I would often identify certain students in my special ed classes, and I would go to a general ed class and look, let this student sit in there and take notes and everything, and do the work, what they can do, what they can. And many times the teachers would come back to me and say, hey, this student is doing better than the other students.
Right.
And I learned to identify, and a lot of times I did not go by the test results. But anyway, that's kind of my background. Uh, I've been interested in. I'm a lifelong learner myself,
Love that.
and I'm used to special ed because I have a speech impediment. It may not sound like it, but right now, but I went through the class, so I know what special ed is from both the inside and out. As a student, another thing. Well, I don't want to take up any more time, but the thing is that I learned that everyone has a chance. And one of the things that holds back a lot of special ed students is the fact that a lot of people, they don't believe what they can do. And I learned fast to find the students, put them in a regular ed class, and also even students who are not identified as special ed. I learned how to, because I was also a general ed teacher for some years, to put I knew what would work. Well, then sometimes I'm surprised. I would get advice from colleagues. Basically, that's my background.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Alejandra, if you're able to unmic.
I don't know. Yeah.
Nope. Okay. Darius Frazier.
Darius?
Or Darius. My apologies.
No, that's okay.
It's a cool name, Darius.
It is. Darius, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Could you give me a little bit of a background on who you are and what you're hoping to get out of this session?
Yes, I am. I'm a college student, and I was diagnosed at age 2 with autism, and then age 3 said I was like trainably mentally handicapped. And I'm gonna make this a long story short, and that the only thing is for me is looking at residential setting though. I was diagnosed with also learning disability, but I overcame that of not only graduating with a bachelor's degree, but also able to live independently.
Nice. Awesome.
I guess what I plan to gain for this session is, learning new information.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Sorry, I'm taking notes while people are talking just so that I know what to refer back to. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Darius. Joan.
Welcome.
Yeah, of course. Joan.
Hello, I am a retired first regular ed and then special ed teacher,
Awesome.
and then I taught student teachers. And I think the fascinating thing that I've learned is that some of the youngsters who were had attention deficit disorder blossomed in music class and loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I now have an experience within my family of a niece and nephew who are quote unquote, ADHD. I don't see it so much, but they are excelling at music just by hearing it and playing it. And it's amazing to me.
Awesome. Awesome. I love to hear that. Thank you, Joan. Julieta?
Julieta, you're muted. Oops, she was there. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really loud.
Oh, there she is.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. My name is Julieta Pasco. I'm a retired bilingual psychologist,
Oh, awesome.
and I am a member of the Learning Disabilities Association. And we do a lot of pro bono with parents with children with disabilities. We work with many bills that impact on the students' lives. So essentially, I've been doing that all my life. So
I love that. Okay.
you have to ask questions so I can answer them.
No, that's good. Is there anything that you are specifically hoping to get out of this session?
Well, to me, music is extremely important.
Mhm.
It calms me down. And particularly now that in which the environment in which we live, the news every 24 hours change from destroying the planet to doing other terrible things.
Okay.
Two things that I do is that I get out of the news. I only watch news in the evening a couple of hours. And when I play music, I feel calm.
Excellent.
So,
Awesome. Awesome. I appreciate that, Julieta.
my husband and I are opera people. So,
Oh, fantastic.
yeah.
Nice. Cool. Okay. Thank you. Madeline.
Hi, I'm Madeline. I'm a preschool teacher, a gen ed preschool teacher. I do have my LBS 1 certification. I have always grown up with music, and I've always, played an instrument or been in choir. And that's continued on into my adult life where I do community choir and community theater. And I find that I bring that into my teaching often, and the kids really enjoy it. So I'm just really looking forward to learning more about how young minds just explode with music, and I feel like they grasp the content so much more when music is incorporated. So I'm really excited to hear more about that.
For sure. Okay, cool. So exciting young minds with music. Love that. Okay, awesome. Paula.
Hello. Yes, and I need to show you the sunset here.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful. Yes, I'm trying to close my ring. So, hi, Emma.
Hi.
My name is Paola Vieira. I am a dual special ed teacher, 3rd grade. This year, I'm in a monolingual classroom and a bilingual classroom, following a co-teach model, which I love. I also am a member of the LDA. I'm honored to be. And music has a very important role in my life because, like Julieta said, it sets my mood, right? I am very blessed that I was exposed, my uncle, he's a cardiologist, he's a genius, and he exposed me to opera, classical music. Now growing up, of course, I love pop. I love everything Latin music.
Yeah.
What else? If I want to work out, of course, I will play music. And as a teacher, I was a family service worker and then a preschool parapro before being a teacher. And I remember that year, my teacher was the teacher of the year in the state of Illinois. And she showed me that at every arrival, we play a variety of music, like Cuban and different languages, different frequencies, different kinds. And I love that. And I love that. And I saw the children just just getting the influence of the music. And now, as a mom, I have adult children, and I have a son who is a freshman in high school who has ADHD. I noticed that the same way that the music can positively impact you, we see a tendency of also like negative music that I don't like, the beat, the lyrics. And I was just looking at a reel. I think, I don't know if you remember Marilyn Manson. It was like a very heavy rock singer.
Yep.
He was,
Marilyn Manson.
There you go. Thank you. He was sharing that they recorded some songs with this technology that they hidden like frequencies that are really disturbing to your mind with an evil purpose. So I would like to know more how to have again that positive impact, those tragedies in the classroom, but at the same time to be aware of these new generation of negative things around us, not to be afraid, just to be informed and to know how to identify it, or just how to have those conversations with our teenage students, with our family, and just to be aware that this is our reality.
Okay.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you, Paula. I appreciate that. Awesome. Okay. And last but not least, Sunshine.
Oh, Christine? Yes, I'm here.
Oh, Christine, is that your name?
Yeah,
I think Sunshine's a bit.
It's Chris. Yeah, that's my phone's name.
Oh, I like that.
So I'm on my iPhone.
I love it.
I was gonna say, music has been with me pretty well all my life too. From my mother listening to ethnic music, German music on the radio, to her show tunes, to my dad singing popular songs to me. And I played violin for a while, piano, guitar, and now I'm learning ukulele.
Oh, lovely.
And and I've been working with children most of my life besides having my own family. But I was a children's librarian. Now I've been a substitute teacher for 13 years. And I used to be pretty well just in gen ed, but then they started needing more people to teach special ed. So I teach a lot of special ed now, and I'm looking for ways too to use other tools to reach them. And I've used books, but I've always liked to use some singing if I can. Some of the, books are made rhyming, and I used to take some of those and make those more into songs myself. But I know too, when I was subbing one time in a music class, that the teacher there showed a film about using music to reach older people too who had dementia.
Yes.
So I'm interested in that aspect of it too, because I have friends who are older like that too. But so I'd be interested in how we can use that in the schools. And I'm just thrilled that we still have the arts in our schools, because I was an art history major myself.
Oh, cool.
And I hate to see if we ever lose the arts in favor of other things like sports, or just having budget cutting where we don't think it's necessary. So
yeah, for sure.
As a way to express ourselves, as a way to comfort ourselves, as a way to, like some people have said earlier, to promote like values that we believe too. Yeah, I think it's a great thing. I'm sorry I'm not familiar with your music. So
that's okay.
Hopefully you'll play some of it.
Well, I'm on Spotify, so I'll definitely give you guys access to all of that after this.
Good.
That's fine. Cool. So thank you for giving me an overview, everybody. That gives me a little bit more understanding about where you're each coming from, so that I can make sure I hit the points that you bring out, that you've raised. Um, so the kind of it's interesting, like working in special ed versus general education. Um, Obviously, very different fields. But what I have found personally with my own special education needs and working with other young people who are on the spectrum or have, struggled with whatever people deem special education these days, there has been, obviously, you all know this, oodles and oodles of research that has come out relatively recently around how music can really benefit young people. Now, I want to give you guys maybe a couple of ideas on how you can implement that in your classrooms, whether you are teaching kindergarten or teaching older folk. But the first and foremost thing is when we're looking at music education, especially in a world, and I know this is a little controversial, so we can have a discussion about that later if you like. But in a world that is really struggling to maintain the arts in our school system, it's important to recognize that intention is everything. What I mean by that is, yes, we can teach a syllabus. Yes, we can teach the ABCs, but the purpose and the reason behind why we teach what we teach can certainly inform our students' learning much more effectively. It is in my experience. What I mean by that is music can take on many facets, but with the right intention, teaches mathematics. We have pattern building when it comes to the rhythms of words. We have pattern building when it comes to the rhythm of chord, not the rhythm of chord progressions, but like how chord progressions are created. We have pattern mathematics when it comes to lyric writing and how the symmetry of the rhythm of the words, for example. That is one part of the school syllabus that music definitely caters for. Another, obviously, is expression. Now, several of you mentioned self-expression, and what I've found over the past 20 something years that I've been teaching is it is impossible to teach a child or an adult, for that matter, when they are in a zone of stress and overwhelm. Giving young people specifically tools like music, singing, songwriting, dancing, singing, whatever it is, banging on drums, giving them an opportunity to express themselves in all of their expression can be really, really powerful because it helps them rediscover rather, their, it helps them reset their nervous system basically. So by getting out all of that built up emotional stress or overwhelm helps them to reset so that they can learn more effectively. And then, of course, there's our English literacy skills. Time and time again, I have been completely astounded at the number of clients I've worked with and students I've worked with who, if you have a normal day-to-day conversation with them, they may struggle to find the correct vocabulary to express what it is they're feeling, experiencing, what they've endured, even like literal experiences that they've had. Their brains sometimes shut down when it comes to finding the right words. However, when you give young people a beat and or a melody to express those same situations, I have found they have accessed verbiage they have never accessed before. I have found that conversations come more clearly, more concisely, more honestly. And so again, that's like the way that music activates our brain, kind of helps us to sort of circumvent a lot of the blocks, the mental blocks that so many of us have when it comes to talking about trauma, when it comes to talking about our emotions, when it comes to vulnerability, or just when it comes to expressing ourselves full stop, especially if we are neurospicy. So that's the first thing that I wanted to sort of raise with you. And I'd love for you guys to feedback your ideas or experiences on that. But the second thing that I want to talk about when it comes to using music in the classroom is, again, using music to help us stimulate our memory in ways that we might not otherwise be able to access through the lens of reading and writing, having a conversation, or even using pictures and color to help stimulate our minds. Now, when I was at my worst neurologically, I was in hospital for 5.5 weeks, developed staphylococcus in my brain and developed some pretty severe brain trauma as a result. So it took me several years really to recover from that. I still struggle with memory in many ways. My directional memory still shot. Thank God for GPS and technology. But I was told that one of the key things that we can do is use color when I'm studying, when I'm highlighting, when I'm writing notes, to help me retain the information I was learning. What I found is color does help, but color, in addition to singing the lessons I was learning about, helped me to really memorize facts, figures, events, etc., even in my own lived experience. So when it comes to, I mean, we all know this with the alphabet, we memorize that. I'm sure, in your young years, Dr. Calvin Ward, you still sometimes sing the alphabet to yourself to remember what letter comes after J, right? So you're nodding your head. Okay, cool. So, again, that music helps us to retain and recall that information. So when we're able to do the same thing with our head, shoulders, knees and toes, it helps us again to just be able to reiterate, retain, and regurgitate, if you will, memory. It's even more powerful when you give young people the opportunity to create their own songs to retain that information. What do I mean by that? When I was teaching at the university in New Zealand, at Te Wānanga o Aotearoa, a lot of our students, our youngest was 16, our oldest was 81. But one of the assignments that I gave them one year, because I recognized that, and I've recognized for a long time before it became trendy, that neurospicy was always a thing, right? Our brains have always been different from each other, and some people learn it very differently to other people. So I, along with my co-teacher, we put together a research assignment for our students to really dig into and write an essay about their favorite musicians. Some people would research UB40, others would research Tupac, whatever it was. But the caveat was we didn't ask for an essay. We asked them to write a rap or a song about the lessons they learned from the lives of the people that they were studying. And I tell you, the amount of information they were able to store in their brains as a result of writing lyrics as opposed to an essay was astounding. And again, because they were singing and or rapping, the vocabulary that they were able to access was also astounding. So the way that music can be integrated into the classroom doesn't necessarily mean we have to rely on our typical arts funding in order to access music. We can use music to really underlie our everyday teaching, our social skills teaching. When we can co-create a songwrite session together, that is teamwork in action, that is communication in action, that is leadership skills in action. When you are teaching about about history, or about philosophy, or about different cultures, world cultures in the classroom. I don't know if that's part of your syllabus, but that's a beautiful opportunity to challenge students to dig into 18th century music, or traditional African rhythms that they can then use as part of their research. Obviously, I'm talking higher level education. For our young, kindergartners, that might be a case of having a dance party to some Arabian music, whatever it is. But being able to access, using the core concepts of what we need to be educating our young people with, music absolutely has a way of being able to integrate itself back into that subject. And again, when it comes to our neurospicy folk, because music activates so much of the brain, it will almost undoubtedly help them retain information more effectively, help them to feel more comfortable with talking about their research, or talking about the topics that you're discussing. It will help them definitely feel more connected with each other when it comes to the collaborative learning situations. And again, help them to, just have fun, because education should be fun, right? At least that's my inner scholar coming out.
Mine too.
Yeah. So does that all make sense to you guys?
Yes, Emma, and I'm curious because you talked about, when you were working with people, they wanted to put color in, and I understand that. But then I'm trying to figure out color with music.
That's a great question. Okay, so color with music might look like, as you're writing lyrics, the verses might be written in a pink coloring pencil. The choruses, I know this is old school, we're going handwriting here, but the choruses might be written in purple. For a lot of my vocal students, what I'll get them to do is print off a lyric sheet to their favorite song, and I'll get them to use different coloring pencils to write in where they're breathing, for example, or underline in a different color what their difficult notes are that they struggle to reach, so that again the brain sort of links the color to, oh, I need to pay attention here. I need to remember this word. Maybe it's a case of if a word, or if a sentence contains a word that is more sorrowful, or demure, right? Maybe we can use a different color to kind of help stimulate that. Or if it's a specific subject that we're discussing in a lyric writing session, again, different colors can kind of relate to different approaches to that verse, or whatever it is. In a more academic setting, when it comes to using color, it might be a case of using a bright blue to highlight the hotspot memory jogger. So instead of using flashcards like we did back in the day, you're now using color to really stimulate that memory of, okay, I'm talking about advocacy here. Now I know how to approach that. Or I'm talking about, the hotspot word in this paragraph is talking about hibernation of bears, whatever it is, right? So that's what I mean by using color.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that is helpful. I was just trying to figure out, I think it's always useful to have kids write songs, I was trying to figure out how to incorporate. And sometimes we use color for organization for some.
Yeah.
But suppose if you were having them write a song about a few new words they were being introduced to,
Right.
you could highlight those words in color.
Yep, absolutely. Or you could, if we're to integrate mathematics into this again, one of my 12-year-old, almost 12-year-old students, I'm sure you are all familiar with the 6-7 trend that went around a while ago. She came in for her first ever vocal session with me and songwriting session with me, wanting to write a song called 6-7. Okay, so we did, but she then took the initiative to make sure that the first and third line of every verse was 6 syllables, and the second and fourth line of every verse became 7 syllables. Again, this is pattern in action. This is mathematics in action. This is poetry in action. This is, this is English literacy in action. But if we were to stimulate the brain more effectively when it comes to memorizing those lyrics, what we could do is have her write every 6-syllable line in yellow, every 7-syllable line in purple. And now you've helped her to memorize that fact, memorize that line, but also take the initiative with her own learning, which is a core concept of where I got my teaching qualifications from, by the way. I got my teaching qualifications in New Zealand under the lens of Pacifica learning, specifically Māori, tikanga Māori learning, and we're very big on student-centered learning, student-driven learning. So that was all her. I just kind of showed her the way.
Interesting.
Yeah. Any other questions about that or about anything else? Please, not all at once.
Well, I have a question to ask about colors. Is it possible that a lot of times, I'm thinking in terms of older adults who may be suffering from dementia, Alzheimer's, and it's just that they recognize a favorite color from the past, and that color is good emotions with that, and that stimulates. If you can identify that particular person's favorite color and use it in some of the exercises that you just previously mentioned, will that help, you think?
I'm not sure too much about the color side of things. I just know that color stimulates memory. So I'm sure it probably, I'm guessing, an educated guess, that if you found their favorite color, and use that to write with, that probably would give them at least a sense of ease. I don't know if it'll help so much with anything else. However, if you were to find a favorite song of theirs and help them, couple that with their favorite colors, that might help even more effectively. Sorry.
Oh, that was my next point I was going to mention about music itself.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my friends, they go around to the nursing homes and they sing, and they say that if a person is suffering from dementia or something like this, but all of a sudden when they hear their songs, all of a sudden they remember the words and they start singing along.
Yeah.
And I noticed that too, that is music, and it has a sentimental value. It's something special, and so like it stimulates that part, because when you're dealing with people with dementia, a lot of times they're more in touch with things from the past and the long-term memory,
Yeah.
instead of the short-term memory.
For sure.
And I have found it a working because like my mother, she has dementia, and so a lot of times I sing with. She started remembering some of the songs, and because she used to play the piano and the organ in her church, and anything like that. And then I just learned that she used to write songs, and
Oh, cool.
they're asked, and her church, they know her mind now that is not well. They try and get permission to get some of her songs recorded. But my mother, when she hears gospel music, all of a sudden she starts doing like this, like she's directing the choir.
Oh, I love
and
that.
everything like that. And she is so I guess that's what you brought up. It fascinated me about the different aspects of music,
Yeah.
and I was thinking about colors too, because I was thinking about like if a color, if you go back to your childhood, if it's something that a color you did not dislike. I was thinking about children. They dislike certain colors, but they like other colors. And I think that's something good that an educator should know, and know what that child's favorite song is, what type of music, and maybe I can see the benefits for enhancing learning.
Yeah, and one exercise, especially for those young folk that you guys are working with, I think it was to Paolo's point, um, when it comes to, so I don't often work with young kids, simply because my zone of genius is very much with teenagers. However, with young children that I have worked with in the past, I've run some interesting um, experiments, if you will, where to bring in color, I've asked young people, I've given them a variety of coloring in pencils and asked them to draw a scene that a piece of music might evoke in their minds. And that is another way that I have found has been really helpful for young people to like recognize music as a tool for self-expression, because obviously different types of music evoke different emotion. Now, by and large, I, have only ever really played them instrumental music in these specific situations, but there is a plethora of music that y'all have access to that is positive and empowering, that can help young people understand the power of lyrics. And that's one thing that I often talk to my clients about, is the power of lyrics. Now, I recognize, Paula, that your point about Marilyn Manson has definitely been discussed at length. I believe it was debunked a while back. So what you may have seen might have been AI, I'm hoping, because as far as I'm aware, I mean, Marilyn Manson is a Christian teacher these days. So that to me would be very surprising. But nonetheless, I know that there is a lot of music out there that is just vile by nature. And we see it like in the rap world, in the metal world, in the rock world, in the pop world. My gosh, Selena Gomez's music makes me shudder. Like, it's pop music, it sounds pretty, but the lyrics coming out of that lady's mouth are not things that I think that young people should be listening to. My personal opinion. However, I digress. You guys have the opportunity to expose them to a range of different music, and by giving them color to help them maybe go back to a situation in their own lives that music might remind them of, or create an idea of a scenario that they would like for themselves, that is, social emotional learning, but is also, helping them to understand that they are literally the writers of their own lives. They can be who they want to be. They can do what they want to do. The messages that we put into our ears absolutely impacts what that trajectory might look like. But that could be something really fun for them, and that way it enables you basically the tools to give them so that when they're older and, knock on wood, hopefully not struggling with dementia, but if they do ever have cognitive difficulties in the future, at least the positive songs that you have exposed them to will be the songs that they remember. And the scenes that you create visually with those crayons or colored pencils can absolutely inform the people that they are growing into. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Paula.
I can't wait to go back to the classroom and to try that, because we have a responsive classroom. We have our calm corner, we are big on, regulating and expressing our feelings, having brain breaks. So I can wait to go back to the classroom and to try that, to play a song and then to ask them to draw, to color a scenery. Yeah, I can wait. If you share your email, yes, I will share with you. Yes, without disclosing any private information, but maybe just some of the what they draw. Mm-hmm.
Another fun one, if you want to go a little bit outside the box, Paolo, that I've done with our young people is not just drawing, but giving them an opportunity to create their own TikTok dance. For my faulty towers people that might be watching right now, look at it as an interpretive dance. Give them an opportunity to create with their bodies. Because again, that's physical education, which is another thing that our school system needs, right? It's physical education, but it's also expression. And it's really quite interesting seeing what our young people come up with.
Yes, we do that when we are introducing new vocabulary. We do the TPR, that's a total physical response.
Oh, lovely.
So we do that. So maybe we can add some humming or a tune or just a rhythm, just something to make it fun. And I remember Meg was Bev, right? That all the time she said that when you blend more than one sense, two senses, it gets better, in your memory and in your process of learning. You need to incorporate a multi-sensory experience.
Yeah, that also helps with de-stressing young people and older folk. It also helps with our neurospicy people, because especially when you've got when you're neurodiverse, when you have an opportunity to stimulate, especially for ADHD folk, if you can go from one thing to another in quick succession, that can help calm them down. What we do need to be aware of is that too much stimulation can be overwhelming for people with autism, obviously.
Yeah, overwhelmed.
So sticking with one or two senses, can be really helpful. But you did remind me to what was it, the acronym you used? TLD?
TPR.
TPR. Okay.
Total physical response.
Cool. So another thing that you could do in your specific situation could be when you're learning about a certain topic, you could do an interpretive dance or find a song that everybody likes that is happy and healthy, right? Rewrite the lyrics, right? Well, I say this because when I was, in hospital for that really long, extended period of time, my elementary school teacher literally made me a mixed tape called Happy Healthy Music. And it was all filled with her favorite songs that were just positive and uplifting and empowering. And I still, to this day, listen to the songs that are on that cassette tape when I'm feeling down. Like that, this is, 25 years later.
You have a cassette player?
No, just on Spotify. I just remember the songs.
Okay.
I wish I still had a cassette player. But you could rewrite the lyrics to specific songs that they like. So now they're able to dance and move, but now they're also able to relay their learning about that specific word that you guys are studying to the song. It's English.
I like that. Thank you, Emma.
Of course, of course.
I was going to say, Madeline, for instance, works with little biddies.
Yeah.
We do tend to use music more with our little ones, because I remember when I taught young children, I use music all the time.
Yeah.
As I work with older students, unfortunately, I didn't use music.
And that's
should have.
Well, it's one of the things that I wish we did more of. Einstein said that adulthood is creativity getting taught out of you. Sorry, education is creativity getting taught out of you. Adulthood is losing that inner child.
Yeah.
So if we are able to keep fostering that creative spark in our young people as they get older, who knows what inner genius they are able to retain as they get older and become more entrepreneurial or become more fascinated about certain subjects. The world is changing so rapidly since the advent of the internet and now AI that, we really need to be giving young people tools to help them explore their possibilities. And I think creativity, like music, can be such a powerful tool for that exploration and retention of their inner genius.
But you do a lot with songwriting.
Yes.
Also.
Yes, I do.
Encouraging students to come with songs about what they're learning.
Yes. Not just what they're learning, but what they're learning, what they're experiencing. A lot of my clients, like, for example, if I go into a middle school or a high school, I don't focus on what they're learning at school in the sessions that I'm running. I very much focus on the emotional social learning aspect, but I incorporate the syllabus into that songwriting. So, for example, every song has a beat. Every song, like my journey through taking young people through songwriting is very much focused on what advice would they give themselves if they met their 5-year younger self, or if they met their 5-year older self, what advice would their 5-year older self give their present day self, or something to that end. I will, I have a whole bunch of prompts that I will give different groups of young people, but with that, they're now able to, really coach themselves and talk through, be their own best friend as they help themselves express themselves. But now you've also again touched on parts of the school syllabus that they're working on that week. It might be poetry, it might be, today's word of the week is bibliography. Now can we work it into a song? Today's theme in social studies is about, I don't know, understanding different cultures. Can we work that into a song? So there's a whole bunch of wiggle room and a whole bunch of opportunity for us to play under the guise of songwriting. And, on a week by week basis, you just have to kind of figure out, okay, how can this work around what we're learning academically? But the music, the songwriting, the singing absolutely can be used as a tool to help engage our neurospicy kids, to help, engage our memory, to help engage those that struggle with normal, general education, normal teaching approaches. And then, of course, because again, it's music, the messages, the lessons will stick with you for longer.
Other questions? A lot of ways we can put more music into our classrooms.
I'm aware we've gone over time, but if you'd like, we can go over a quick kind of example of what this might look like.
Okay.
Yeah? Cool.
Mhm.
Awesome. So as you guys are talking about your backgrounds and what you're hoping to get out of the session, some of the themes that came through were around self-belief, independence, clapping back, self-expression, comfort, and values. Was there anything in particular out of that list that really lit you up?
Self-expression.
Self-expression? Okay, cool.
And hope.
And hope. Cool. Okay, so I have a very I don't know, I've got a list of isms that I use. And the first ism, when I say ism, I'm like little quips that I like to use. Emma-isms, I'll call them. One of my Emma-isms is dig deeper, right? So when we talk about self-expression, I know what it is, but can you show me with your words what that actually means to you? If you were talking to your 10-year-old self, how would you encourage your 10-year-old self to express yourself? This is a question for anybody.
Specifically through music?
Nope, just blanket statement. If you were to meet 10-year-old Paula, what would you say? What advice would you give 10-year-old Paula when it comes to self-expression?
Like to present myself to others without fear and use my words and know your value, know your identity. And for those who value you, to connect, to share ideas, to listen to them, collaborate, and just to build those relationships, knowing each other. If you like music, if you like writing, if you like dancing, whatever the connection is, just to build that with confidence. And if someone doesn't understand what you like, just be respectful and keep trying.
Okay, cool. I have paraphrased that, but I like it. Okay, now when it comes to hope, what does that look like?
Looking at the bright side of things, being excited about what's going to happen.
Okay, what else? Anybody? If you have an idea about hope, what does hope look like?
So personally, relating it to music, I work in, well, my school has like 63 languages in it.
Cool.
And I have a lot of students in my class that speak Spanish and a lot that speak English and a few that speak French.
Mm-hmm.
And we sing a letter of the week song, and we sing it in both English and French.
Awesome.
Or I'm sorry, English and Spanish, not French.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
working on the French part.
Love that.
And it's just really cool to see the students who came in at the beginning of the year speaking 0 English or 0 Spanish, and they can now sing this song like unprompted in both English and Spanish. So just like that brings hope to me, just like, oh, I am actually teaching them something and they are getting something from this, and you know, they're relating the music to, you know, their learning.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, and that, you know what, that's communication. Think of the communication doors you're opening up.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I have one kid that loves to sing the Itsy Bitsy Spider in Spanish, and then another kid will like respond in English with the Itsy Bitsy Spider song. So it's really cool to see that communication,
I love
through
that.
music.
I love that. So if we were to break that down, like summarize all of what we just talked about in one sentence, what would we say? About self-expression and hope.
Well, about self-expression, I can say just be yourself.
Okay. And how can we bring hope into this?
Yes.
Can we say, think about the future without fear?
Cool. Okay.
Or hope?
Love this. So let me sing for you what you just did.
Okay. Wait.
That's not right. That's not right either. Do we like that?
I can't hear it.
You can't hear it.
No, we can hear it.
Oh no! Gosh. You can't hear that at all. This is where Zoom sucks.
Tap it. Just tap it.
Okay. How about I do this? I will tell you your lyrics, and then I will record something and I will send it to Beverly, and you can then giggle at what you've just written. Okay? Cool.
Okay.
So your lyrics are: have no fear, use your words, know your value and identity, connect with those who see you, share ideas and collaborate confidently. Look at the bright side of things, get excited about what's to come, embrace your strengths and share diversity. It all comes back to communication. The chorus: be yourself and embrace the future with no fear. Be yourself and embrace the future with no fear. Be yourself and embrace the future with no fear. Be yourself and embrace the future with no fear. What do we think?
Very nice.
And if my guitar was coming through, you'll be able to hear that in song. Maybe I can you still talk, like, can you hear my voice as I'm playing guitar?
We can hear you. It's fine.
Okay.
I don't know why the guitar isn't coming through.
It's a Zoom malfunction. I forgot. I haven't used Zoom for so long that anyways. Have no fear. Use your words. Know your value and identity. Connect with those who see you. Share ideas and collaborate confidently. Look at the bright side of things. Embrace your strengths and share diversity. It all comes back to communication. Be yourself and embrace the future with no fear. Be yourself and embrace the future with no fear. Be yourself and embrace the future with no fear. Be yourself and embrace the future. There we go.
Hey, bravo.
And that is
Yay!
songwriting in action, y'all. Okay, any other questions, comments, or insults?
Thank you. What is your favorite thing of what you do?
Ooh, that's a tough question. My favorite thing about what I do. I love the aha moments.
Oh,
Yeah. I love having my clients leave and think, I get it now, or I feel seen, or that clicked.
mhm.
That makes me happy.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same way for like my own original music. You know, if people feel seen, validated, acknowledged, connected because I played a song that they connect with, that's also pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Emma G.
Thank you. Yes, this was fun.
Question for Emma G. And thank you all for being here. Thank you. Lots of good ideas. I'm going to try to work with incorporating the color into the music.
Love
Yeah.
Love that.
Well, that was an aha moment for me.
Excellent.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paolo.
Thank you.
We have a good evening.
Mhm.
Likewise,
Thank
friends.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone. Enjoy
Yes,
the rest of the night.
You do the same.
Be safe.
Thank you, Jess.
Okay.
Thank you.
See
God
ya.
bless.
Wonderful.
Yes. Thanks.
Thanks.
To Emma.
Thank you.
Mhm.